Hey y'all, I'm back with another Legacy video, and today I'm playing AlurenTell again. I have really been enjoying this deck quite a lot, as you know, and I've made a few changes since the last time I made a video. So the big change is I've added 3 copies of Tamiyo Inquisitive Student to the sideboard, and my thought was that I had some cards like Unable to Scream, the 4th Veil of Summer, and also the Harbinger of the Seas. And for those cards, they just really weren't coming in a whole lot. And when they did, they didn't seem that effective to me personally. So I just figured as a starting place, I would try Tamiyo instead. Obviously, Tamiyo is great. And one of the things that I have struggled with is slower matchups where the opponent can just sit back. Like I've been seeing a lot of Beanstalk decks. And if you allow your opponent to just sit back and drop a couple Beanstalks, like they're going to be really ready for your combo, and if they answer it, then they just win the game right there. So I wanted to have something that was threatening earlier and something that had to be dealt with on its own. And obviously Tamiyo is very much that card and always has been, and that's what makes that card so strong. I didn't really like 4 copies of Veil Summer. Originally, I think this deck had 4 all in the main deck, and then it switched to 2 in the sideboard, 2 in the main deck. But a lot of times against control or even tempo decks where you would want the Veil of Summer, it can be really tough to get up to the mana and to cast it. And so I was finding myself enjoying leaving a Lotus Petal in addition to the carpets rather than having all the veils in. So by playing out those matches, I was realizing that 4 Veil of Summer was a bit much. And sometimes I was even just cantripping with them, like maybe my opponent would cast a Brainstorm and I would just end a turn Veil to get another card, and that's not really where you want to be with that card. So this has been really nice. I've gotten 2 trophies actually this weekend with this list. I played the challenge with this exact list too Saturday morning. That went okay, but it's been feeling really good, and hopefully I can get those same results in this league. Round 1, I am on the play, and this looks like a totally fine hand. I'll probably start with the Ponder. Hope I don't get Thought Seized turn 1. I'll keep it. I think there's a reason to consider starting with the Veil, but it's just so much more likely that I wouldn't get Thoughtseize turn 1. So I don't want to play around that. Okay, this is not bad. I'm going to need lands for this to work out really well. But I think I can afford to put Omniscience on bottom, draw the other stock up, and then hide the Alluren on top. All right, this turn, after my opponent had no plays, I'll just play Misty and pass. All right, my opponent didn't fetch a Surveil land. This could be the mirror match. I don't have Flooded Strand in my deck, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't play Flooded Strand. Okay, they cast Ponder. If my opponent has no play here, I think I'm just going to draw the Omniscience and then cast Brainstorm next turn. And they are passing, so I will do that. I'll just try to get the most value I can out of this Brainstorm. I definitely have some cards I want to put back. Okay, Show and Tell. Now Omniscience doesn't look so bad. And then Emrakul, the land. Yeah, a lot of good stuff here. So I think what I'll do is put back the Emrakul. If I really want this card again, I can get it with Formidable Speaker. And I think Sacrilege, though it feels, I'll put back a stock up. I think I'm pretty close to having this game, depending on how things go. If I can get a mana next turn, then I will have Veil of Summer back to Show and Tell, and I can put in Omniscience. And my opponent still didn't crack the fetch land, so they liked multiple cards off that Ponder. Okay, and they play Karakas. So I will go ahead and fetch and get probably a Surveil land. I would like to try to find another land and get a little aggressive here. Okay, another copy of Lurin is not what I want. Okay, there is the land. So I could stock up I could cast Show and Tell backed by Veil. I think I'll start with the stock up into my opponent's 3 untapped lands and 7 cards in hand. I'll be a little conservative here. Spell Pierce. I'll Veil in response. Fetch a Trop. And Veil. Even if this just gets out a bit more interaction from them, I'm okay with that. Okay, now they Brainstorm, so probably looking for Force Blue. So I already feel like I'm kind of winning this interaction. Though I really would like to have that stock up resolve. All right, Veil resolves. I hope I won't regret that. I would like to obviously have protection. Okay, another Veil is perfect. I could just get the Veil and the land. I think land is better than Petal. Doesn't look like they're going to have black that Thoughtseize me this turn. So that'll work out. And if they didn't have Force for that, I don't think they're going to have Force next turn, especially since they know the top card of their library. So if they don't cantrip here, the coast should be clear. I would just hate for them to be a Stoneforge deck and randomly have like Meteor Sword in their hand. Okay, they have red mana. Teferi, okay. And they are minusing the Teferi, so they drew a wild card there. And Ponder. So because of the Teferi, I can't really put in something like I can't, the difference between Alluren and Omniscience off of Show and Tell is not impactful. Now, I could just cast Alluren. If I cast Alluren, they don't get to put anything in. I mean, they can cast stuff, but I don't think this deck is going to have anything that would stop my combo. So I feel like that's probably the move. I will start on the Veil. Okay, that worked. Here's Alluren. Now I will have to resolve all the triggers, but that's fine. So here's Acerak, Acerak, I should say. And now I have to let every single trigger resolve. So I will have to, they scoop, but I would actually have to draw 17 cards and make all the treasure and stuff. But yeah, got there. So this matchup is a prime one for Tamiyo. I think I'll bring in the Tamiyos, possibly Carpet. Yeah, I'll bring in Carpets and Tamiyos. I'll cut both petals. I'll cut all the forces, and then I'll bring in a Blue Blast and a Flusterstorm. I don't think I need in both Blue Blast effects, and I don't think I need the third Veil of Summer. I think this will do just fine. Now, my sideboarding here against this deck could indicate that even 3 Veil of Summer could be a bit much. And I do notice I have 61 cards here, so if I can make it in time, I'll cut the Boseiju. Didn't really see anything I would want to Boseiju there. Maybe Caracas, but I don't think they're going to be messing with my lands. I could maybe see them having back to basics, of which Boseiju could admittedly hit, but I would rather just fetch basics. All right, this hand looks amazing. I wish I had Tamiyo, but I can right away start to threaten with the Carpet. And I don't know if my opponent plays Prismatic Ending, but I would certainly be boarding out Prismatic Endings versus the Omnitel deck. And they have Ponder on their first turn off Volcanic. I might just Hedge Maze, because if I can't afford to fetch a basic off of Misty, I'd like to. And I don't feel like I'm in a rush. Like playing the Carpet just to immediately cast Ponder isn't the best. And then I might feel compelled to keep a hand that has more mana, or keep a Ponder that has more mana than I really need, just so that I can jam quickly. So I'll just, especially with Brainstorm now being drawn, just get this out of the way. Unfortunately, I would love to get rid of Acerak, but if you get rid of Acerak, you can't win with that line. You can, but it becomes very convoluted and involves Emrakul putting cards back. All right, so they are holding up Spell Pierce. I think what I'll do is cast Brainstorm right now. and bait a Spell Pierce or Red Blast or something. Okay. Seeing another land is pretty nice. I'll put back Acerak, maybe one Ponder, as I kind of already have the cards I want here. I could also see putting back Omniscience, but I think it'll be all right. And then I will attempt the Carpet. That would be a very tempting Spell Pierce for them. And I will get Basic here. I'm starting to really doubt that this deck has back to basics, but I could see them having Wasteland. Wow, and they spend a Force on the Carpet. Or they Spell Pierce it. Okay. They spent a Spell Pierce, but they considered casting Force. And with that hit on their life total there, it lets me know they have Force. Not the biggest surprise in the world, but nevertheless good to know. So what looks like the ideal line then is Show and Tell into Aluren, Formidable Speaker, Pitch, Omniscience. Hopefully they don't have Plow or something like that. All right, they did find a fetch land, so really good Brainstorm. And they may be playing something out here. Could also just be another cantrip. Ponder, sure. So I assume they held on to that Force of Will. But with them tapped out of Red Blast and then tapped out of Spell Pierce, this would be a really nice time to jam the Show and Tell and get a 2-for-1. I'd love for it to resolve, but I want to spend my mana here and see if I can get that Force. And obviously, if they put the Force back, that would be disastrous, and I would win the game on the spot. Yep, Force Pitch Counterbalance. Well, I'm glad to see Counterbalance go. I don't think my deck is particularly susceptible to Counterbalance with not that many 1-drops, but I do have this Ponder in hand. All right, my opponent has Teferi, and I assume they're going to bounce right away. Yep. So one random card. They are holding up Pyroblast, and they considered tapping the Tundra, or considered tapping this and then instead tap the Tundra. So really hoping that this Ponder shows me a Soul Land. Okay, there's Ancient Tomb. I could also get the Carpet. If I cast Carpet and they force that, so that actually represents more mana. I don't even really need the Ancient Tomb, because I can Ponder for it again next turn if I really want. So I'll get this Carpet. If they force this, they're Hellbent. Okay, they're Brainstorming in response, which to me indicates they're looking to force it. And I will interpret it as the coast is clear if this resolves. It's also nice seeing them tap off their last land. All right, they didn't force it. I don't think it's correct to force it, but they just were playing like they wanted to. Here's Formidable Speaker, and I will, I guess, just get rid of the Emrakul, get Acerak. I'll be sad if they saved a Force for this. Doesn't look like it, though. Looks like this is going to get there. All right, yeah, good games, and they didn't make me click through it, so that's always really nice. So there was no Tamiyo in game 2, but I had enough redundancy with my combo cards to pull it off, and I was able to get that first Spell Pierce out of the way with my Carpet. I think that's a reasonable card to Spell Pierce because Carpet will allow you to play around Spell Pierce pretty well, but here was a nice showcase of the redundancy of this deck and how that can really give control decks a tough time. All right, I'm on the draw match 2. This definitely looks like a mull. Anytime you have double Formidable Speaker, that's already pretty bad. I don't love this hand either, but I'm going to keep it. Bottom 1, Force of Will. If I draw lands, I'll be all right, I think. All right, looks like I'm getting Thoughtseized here. Yep. If I were them, I would probably take stock up. Okay, they take Force, so probably something unfair is happening there. And I was going to lead on Boseiju, but because I drew Ancient Tomb, I'll lead on Chop. And I think if they're taking Force of Will, they're probably not a combo deck, or they're probably not a Wasteland deck. They probably are a combo deck. So really right now, I just have to hope they don't have their combo immediately. Okay, Underground Mortuary. This could be the Moonshadow Hogak deck I've been seeing a bit of. Dark Writ. Cabal Writ. It looks stormy here. Lion's Eye Diamond, sure. Infernal Tutor. So this is probably getting Ad Nauseum, if I had to guess. Maybe getting Beseech. Yep. I think if they get Gaia's Will, they just have enough to win there with Storm 6. Yeah, so I can scoop. Okay, against Storm, I definitely like Cage. I like the Consigns. I don't know if this deck is going to have red cards just yet. Flusterstorm is a definite yes. The third Veil, pretty nice. And then Force of Vigor. I always like to start by getting rid of the snow-covered forest. I'll trim one Alluren and one Formidable. And then probably the stock-ups. They're just a little slow, as you saw in game 1 there. Okay, I can keep this. It's not great. But hopefully this Ponder can find me something good. Even a Veil would be pretty nice. Because I can hold up Veil right away with Lotus Petal. Force of Vigor, Hedge Maze, Omniscience. I don't need those cards. Okay, Formidable Speaker. It's something. I probably will just allow them to Thoughtseize me if that's what they go for. As opposed to, say, casting Brainstorm off Lotus Petal. There's nothing really I need to hide at this point. Alright, I am getting Thoughtseize. Yeah, I'll allow it. Probably take a cantrip. Maybe they take one of my combo pieces. I'm guessing they take Brainstorm. I think Ponder is better here, though. Yeah, they take Brainstorm. And passing the turn. Well, pity I didn't draw Show and Tell right there. Cast Ponder. There's Show and Tell. So I can hide that from discard. Play Boseiju. Bottom the Tomb. So get the other Formidable Speaker. Play Boseiju. Now I just have to hope that they pass for one more turn. Okay, I like seeing Brainstorm. And they have to be somewhat worried because I didn't shuffle the Ponder. Though, if they interpreted it as I just found my own combo piece, but I'm still pants down to them, they would get rewarded for that. And even a Thoughtseize would be pretty crippling here. And they are fetching. And I'm getting Thoughtseized again. Yeah. So I'm very liable to lose Omniscience. Yeah. So now I think what I need to do is play Formidable Speaker, get Atraxa, and that'll probably telegraph that I have Show and Tell. But that's what I've got. It can maybe signal that I have Force of Will. Maybe that's how they would interpret it, but I think I'm going to have to get pretty lucky here. I do feel like my Storm matchup with this deck is pretty good overall, but this game just might get away from me. The double discard was rough. Yeah, LED. Double LED. Dark Writ. Looks like I'm pretty dead here. Ad Nauseum for only from 13 life, but they're going to get a lot of mana. Yeah, you got it. Okay. They might need to keep going. All right, yeah. Wow, that was really unlucky for them. They just killed themselves with the Nauseum because, yeah, they just didn't really hit anything good. 13 life a little low, and then getting the Beseech, but not having anything to Beseech, and then Tendrils. And then if they did stop there, like, I don't think they could have won, and then literally at 2 life, the Speaker was lethal. So, well, it's a live to play again. Game 3, still haven't seen any red cards. I'm starting to doubt that I will need the blasts. So I think this setup seems pretty nice. I don't know about Force of Vigor. They could have Urza Saga. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, my opponent says apparently should have kept one of the LEDs up. Dumb on my part. Yeah, I guess so. It's probably easy to feel kind of invincible when you cast ad nauseum. I think I will just run it back for game 3. I think seeing that misplay there, like, I think that's why a lot of people really like Storm as a deck, is that even though, you know, it can be kind of annoying, it requires a lot of skill. And I noticed that every time I play against Bryant Cook, it's just like Bryant is very challenging to beat. This I think is a mull. If Thoughtseize takes my Ponder, I'm really in trouble. So this is better. I'll keep this bottom 1 Rainstorm. I'll need to find a way to hold up that Veil Summer, but if I can find that, I'll feel all right. And again, action right away. Probably getting Thoughtseized if I had to guess. Carpet. Okay. I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, I will be playing into it. Somewhat, at least. Would love a fetch land. Okay. So I think I have to cast Ponder. Okay, those are really good. I think I will draw the Flusterstorm. And just hopefully they can't combo off this turn. And hopefully they look at my hand and get baited into taking the Flusterstorm if they Thoughtseize me. Or maybe they just won't Thoughtseize me. Okay, passing is a great sign. So here, I probably should have used the City of Traders, to be totally honest. But I'll put in Omniscience. They have nothing to put in. I think I'm going to sit back a turn. There's a Hedge Maze on top of my deck, if I recall. I don't think I can lose next turn. I would just be very sad if they had like a Boseiju or something like that, but I just don't think that's the case. I'm not willing to play around that. Okay, adding black. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. I'm going to let all this stuff go. Lion's Eye Diamond. Death Wish. Storm is 4. I'm not sure what they're going to get off Death Wish. It's definitely scary. I'll let them get it, though. Beseech. All right. Cast without paying its mana cost. GG's. Yeah. I could have let them get one more thing off Beseech, but what if they got something that wasn't an instant or sorcery? So I imagine they're getting what do you call it? Gaia's Will, based on the cards in their graveyard, but I don't know. This was going to end the game either way, right? And so I was going to draw Hedge Maze, and then Brainstorm would find acceptable cards, but it was going to be a little while before I could actually win this game. All right, I'm on the draw. This could be a trap to keep this hand, but I will. I've played my opponent. I know back in the day they used to play Alluren, so I think a mirror match could be possible here. Prismatic Vista is a card I play. Okay, no land is unfortunate, but Atraxa is nice if I do get shown/told. Trop, okay. I am heavily expecting a mirror match now. And hopefully this Brainstorm can find me a land. Very much in need. No land, okay. That's really brutal. I guess I don't need 2 Allurens. That card I can actually shuffle away. If I have to pitch something to force a will, it's probably going to be a stock up or one of those other cards. I will have to discard here. I'll actually probably discard. I suppose I could force this Brainstorm and not go to discard, but that seems silly. Thankfully, though, I can beat any win condition that this deck has right now. I guess I'll just discard this stock up. If they go show and tell, I can put in Alluren. I will allow this. I could get punished if they put in Omniscience. Formidable Speaker, this is fine. I'll let them discard the card. They discard Aluren. They get Emrakul. Cast Emrakul. So they need double force here. Or like force plus Veil. I'm just going to cast Acererak. Ooh, they have an Acererak. I'll try to force that. Wow, I got there. That was a sweet one. Yeah, I don't know what their last card could have been, but I will say that line escaped me of them being able to cast the Acererak off of my Aluren. So the thing that I was thinking about though that could punish me here is like, so I could have forced the show and tell. Because if they did put in Omniscience, then all of a sudden, if they had a force here, they could have cast it. Whereas prior to that, they wouldn't have been able to cast it. And if they did have a force and wanted to cast it, it would have cost 2 cards. So I'm thankful this worked out, and I figured it would. But there was definitely a chance that I could have traded more efficiently, and possibly that could have been the difference between winning or losing. Okay, so this is a place where I really like these Tamiyos, because we're just going to be scared all game of comboing. Carpet seems really good. Possibly Consign. I'll consider that. Cards I don't really want are... I think the Allurens have to go. I think if they're going to play Aluren, it'll be fine. I can get rid of Snow-Covered Forest. Probably a Petal, maybe even both Petals. And then that way I'm equipped with a lot of different things. Really, I think this is going to be about stocking up and playing Tamiyo, though. I do want the Flusterstorm. Probably over maybe one Formidable Speaker. I'll try that. Maybe it could have been over one Show and Tell. All right, double Tamiyo, Force of Will. I like this. I will keep. Opponents on them all to 6. I just really wish I could drop the Tamiyo turn 1. That'd be highly preferable. Turn 1 Ponder is fine. And shuffle. All right. Basic land was a really great draw. Now I can play turn 1 Tamiyo. Now, quite honestly, I feel like I've probably just won the game, because unless they can combo with force backup, it's going to be pretty tough. And I imagine they're digging for lands here. Petal. Yeah. Okay, so they're Brainstorm locked. So here's a nice instance where Ancient Tomb is pretty cool. Like I can hold up Consign. Ooh, it's just the Brainstorm right now. I think I will flip this Tamiyo. If they force this, Flusterstorm, that's fine. They're losing a Petal out of it. Obviously, if I had played the Tomb out, I could have paid for it. But I'll just use it to draw a card. Like, the Howling Mine mode of Tamiyo is going to be totally fine. It'll get painful, though, if I'm constantly tapping this Tomb. Interesting they didn't play that Lotus Petal out last turn. All right, good to see an untapped land. Another untapped land, not very good. But now I think I can take the time to hold up Consign. I could possibly Surveil. I think I would rather take another hit off the Tomb and Surveil versus fetch a non-Surveil. I don't really feel like my life total is going to be very important in this match. So I will draw the card and then Surveil. Flusterstorm is nice. Fetch Hedgemaze. Omniscience. Don't think I need Omniscience. I don't think they have any chance of resolving a spell of any importance. And this time I'll just drop the Hedgemaze. Formidable Speaker. I also don't really think I need that. Yeah, that's fine. And I'll draw another card. Another land. So I am flooding out here. If they get a Carpet, that'll be pretty nice for them. Okay, Atraxa is cool. If I can get a Carpet or Petal, I think I boarded out my Petals though. So I'll discard a land. Definitely don't need all these lands. Okay, my opponent has another land, so they can finally start casting something like a stock up or show and tell. I am ready to flip the Tamiyo. I want to kind of get the show on the road. Stock up's pretty cool. Another stock up. There's just so many cards I'm going to get to see. I will have to win the game at some point. Cast stock up. I'll take the carpet. I'll take omniscience. I'll play the carpet. And then I have to discard 2 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm pretty close actually to hard casting omniscience. I think I can just discard Tamiyo and the land still. All right, so now we both have 7 cards. But Tamiyo is like turning my cards into selection each time. Another Traxa. So now I can flip Tamiyo. I'll probably do that. No, I won't add carpet mana. But really, I would like to get to where I can hard cast one of these big cards. Add blue. I'll start with a stock up. I'll get the tomb. And I guess brainstorm. I'll play the tomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now any mana source, and I can cast omniscience next turn, and there it is. But I'll go ahead and flip the Tamiyo. Boseiju seems good, yeah. So I'll keep these cards. Flip Tamiyo. And I can just discard an Atraxa and a Brainstorm. And I still need to discard one more card. Good lord. Maybe Consign. I don't think I'm really going to need Consign at this point. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to need Boseiju, even though I said I liked that card. All right, it could be showtime here. Stock up. I'll let them stock up. Next turn, I'll have Force plus Fluster to back up Omniscience. I suppose I honestly probably should have flustered that. And then picked up Flusterstorm with Tamiyo. I think that would have been better. All right, I'll add blue. I'll play City. Cast Omniscience. My life total's getting low. I imagine they at least have Force. Yeah, so I'll start by forcing back, pitching Ponder. They Veil. I could Veil in response. I don't think they have another Flusterstorm, right? They've already spent a Flusterstorm. I'll try Veiling. Yeah. Force pitch Omniscience. That's super unfortunate. So their Veil. Okay. They should have forced my Veil, I think. So now I think I have to pick up Force of Will with Tamiyo. Another land, not very good. So I'll just uptick the Tamiyo, and I'm going to hope that all the counter spells that I have get me to the Tamiyo ultimate, and then I can just win from there. It would be a real shame if I don't win this game. But I feel like between Force and Fluster, they're going to have a tough time resolving an important spell. I'm not going to force Brainstorm. Okay. A Tamiyo is nice. I will do that. Play that out. I'm not going to protect it in any way. But it would just be nice to get back to drawing 2, especially with my opponent down on cards as much as they are right now. Like, it started to feel a little bit less important when they had 7 and I had 7. Okay, they could have fetched there. So that was kind of interesting. Now, if I draw like an Omniscience or something, I may... Okay. No, I won't add anything. I'm gonna... Man, it's tempting. I could pick up the Veil and just be invincible, basically. I think I will start by making this clue. And then I'll crack the clue. Another Brainstorm. I don't really want to flip my Tamiyo. But I could, like... No, I won't add blue. I'm just going to go for the ultimate. I mean, I have Force, Fluster, Consign, and double Brainstorm to find more things. I think I'm going to get another turn. And I'll just discard a land. I don't really want to play out another land when I have City of Traders, so Okay, they're finally cracking that fetch after brainstorming twice without cracking it. So presumably they have some good cards. And now is the time to... Okay, they scoop it up. Yeah, good games. I'm guessing that they did not have... Maybe they took out Allurens like me. Maybe even took out Show and Tells. And we're just hoping to get up the mana to hardcast an Omniscience or other, like Atraxa or something like that. And so this game too was just taken over by Tamiyo because they were dirtling around the whole game, didn't really do anything. And I got to draw all those extra cards. I have 26 cards in my library. They have 34. So that's all thanks to Tamiyo. All right, match 4. I am on the play. Yeah, I will keep this. Started off with Tropical Island so I can brainstorm and put away cards around a potential Thoughtseize. If they're not a blue deck, I think they're going to get crushed. If they are a blue deck, I'll have to be a little bit more tactful with how I do this stuff. Probably start with brainstorm at least. All right, my opponent mulls to 6. So I go Tropico, like I said. Oh boy. Looks like it might be oops. Yeah, this could get unfortunate here. Well, now I have to emergency brainstorm in response. And they're gonna win, so... Oh, it's so lame. Oh well. I'll just put back 2 random cards. I'll let them show me their deck. I will admit I have not been seeing as much oops lately. Okay, so they do have Chancellor of the Annex. It appears... Okay, they have Pact. I see 1, 2... 3 Pact? So they probably have a Pact in hand. Did I count that correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they have 4 Pacts in the graveyard. So this was just an unprotected. Turn 1, as Oops does. And I see Dread Return. And I see Thassa's Oracle. And just all the regular stuff. So I guess I'll just really quickly double check they have like enough Poxwalkers and stuff to win right now. That it's not just a weird bluff. I see 1, 2... Okay, they have 3 Poxwalkers, yeah. So, all right, I lose. So for oops, I just want to have... I don't have a ton of cards, actually. Cage, Macabre, Veil. Cards I don't want. Anything remotely slow. I don't need the Snow-Covered Forest. I don't need the stock-ups. And then maybe I'll cut 1... I don't know. 1 Speaker, I guess, or 1 Alluren. I could maybe see Force of Vigor being good, but I just don't know if I have any more cuts. All right, this is a turn 1 Atraxa off Omniscience. I'm going to keep that. This is like the God hand. I guess if I had an Emrakul over Atraxa, it'd be a little better. Though arguably not, actually, because they would still have life and no permanents to lose anyway. So I bet I can win the game without passing the turn to them at all. But let's see. So Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Show and Tell. They cast Once Upon a Time in response. They get an Undercity Informer. Put in Omniscience. They put in the Informer. Here's Atraxa. Oh, they have Force of Vigor. Okay. Well, this will put some pressure on me here. I might lose, actually. There's a Cage, Ponder, Omniscience, Emrakul, Force. I'm probably dead here if I had to guess. Let's get a random land. 1 Omniscience and Atraxa, not good enough. Let's see, though. Just discard Hedge Maze. All right, let's see. So they have 1 Narcomoeba, Do they have Cabal Therapy? They have 1 Cabal Therapy. 1, 2, 3 Poxwalkers. So I forced the Cabal Therapy. Then they just Dread Return and kill me. So, yeah. Pretty brutal. I didn't think there was any way I could lose from there, but they had the Force of Vigor. So, good games. All right, on the draw for the last match, this hand is okay. It's very slow. And if I get Thoughtseize, that's really not too good, but I'll keep. Opponent's mulling. But yeah, just good mana, access to a stock up, 1 combo piece. Like, hard to say no to that. Okay, this player actually plays lands, so that's a bit of a refreshing choice. And Nethergoyf. Probably Demir Tempo, be with Moonshadow, Force of Will. I'll just play off basics. All right, they fetch red, so this is probably actually not a deck that's going to have Force of Will. And it looks like they're just trying to increase card count. Okay, another Goyf. So, yeah, the clock is getting fast. But holding Force here feels pretty good. I would love to see yet another blue card because I don't want to pitch the Omniscience. Aluren, okay, not great. But now I can pitch Omniscience a little more easily. There's Moonshadow. A little late for Moonshadow. But yeah, these Goyfs not getting bigger than a 2/3 is definitely rough. And like right now with Moonshadow being a 2/2, that's like the same power and toughness the Nether Goyfs would have if I countered it. All right, this stock up does need to hit something good. Okay, show and tell and stock up. That's all right. So next turn I can show and tell. I really don't want to have to force next turn. If I have to force next turn, I'm in big trouble. If I don't have to force next turn, I bet I win. Okay, a bobble is fine. They're bobbling themselves, so maybe they have multiple lands in hand. Barrogoyf. Yeah, I'll let you have Barrogoyf. Yeah, Barrogoyf doesn't really affect the clock. Like, this is 7 power right here, so there was no reason to worry about Barrogoyf. Okay, another show and tell is not very good. So now this stock up will super have to hit. But at least with Omniscience in play, I can kind of chain it into other stuff. Bowmaster, ever so slightly worrisome, but not really. So I'll cast stock up. All right, yep, so I'm going to win. I'll cast the Emrakul, take an extra turn. If they don't scoop to this, I know Formidable Speaker can obviously get Acerak, but if I get Atraxa, they don't have any flyers, so I can just win in combat and make it a little simpler. So I will get Atraxa. Atraxa will draw a whole bunch of cards as well. And I scoop it up. So there were a lot of ways to do that. Technically, Acerak would be better, but like, I don't know, just save some clicks. And I knew I had it either way. All right, this is a deck where I don't really like Tamiyo. They might be going down on removal, but I bet they have things like Bolt. I maybe want the Blasts. I maybe want this Veil. But maybe not on the draw. I really just think I want to kill them quickly. I think if I can kill them quickly, all will be well. Like this seems like this will be a pretty minimal sideboarding instance. I don't know if they play Wasteland. I don't know if I want to go down a land. It's probably safe to cut both Seiju. I'll bring in the Flusterstorm. And then maybe on the play, I'll bring in some of those cards over Force of Will. And the reason why I brought in Fluster over Veil is Fluster hits Thoughtseize and Pyroblast. Veil technically hits both those cards, but not as effectively. I guess it's a trade-off. All right, this is a keep. It's either going to be turn 2 show and tell or turn 2 stock up. They probably play Thoughtseize and they probably will take show and tell. but stock up a fine thing to be able to do nevertheless. I wish I could afford Trop, but I bet they play Wasteland. I think if you're a Moonshadow deck, you definitely play Wastelands. All right, they're good on 7-2, so here we go. Okay, Bobble. Starting with Bobble and cracking it to me suggests they don't have Moonshadow. They could have Nethergoyf. Interesting that they bobbled themselves after fetching. Dark Ritual for Barrogoyf, maybe? May Scornful Striker. Cast a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Yeah, that wasn't worth Dark Ritualing out. I'm just gonna be totally honest. I'll play Polluted Delta. What would be a good play from them would be to go Thoughtseize me, wait for me to Veil, and then play a Wasteland out. But I think I'm just gonna get a turn 2 Emrakul and see what they have to say about that. Okay. So playing a Bauble into their own May and losing 2 life. So I'm actually going to play City of Traders to save a little bit of life, and if they wasteland that, it's no big deal. Get Snow-Covered Islands, City of Traders, Show and Tell. And I imagine they just lose to the Emrakul right away. They wasteland me, sure. You definitely want to wait and hold that wasteland until it's your turn. Gives you more options. Like now they can't cast Barrogoyf next turn without a Dark Ritual. But I'll happily just put in Emrakul and see how this goes. Dothby, okay. Well, now if they did have like Shouldered's Edict, they could actually get their own Emrakul. That would be terrifying. If they have that, kudos. But that's really the only thing I'm afraid of. And that was another reason to not wasteland. They might have another land in the hand. But okay, tapped land. I don't know what 1-mana card in Magic the Gathering other than Innocent Blood could get them out of this. A little late for Thoughtseize, especially when it puts you to lethal. But I guess what they're trying to do is hopefully spike something that this Dothby could get. So that's kind of reasonable. But it'd have to be another Emrakul, so I think they're seeing this and realizing there's nothing they can do. And that they are dead on the backswing. All right, they are sacking the Dothby, so I guess they'll stock up. They could also cast Show and Tell. I just think they're kind of treading water here. Especially if they don't play Lotus Petals, because they've made their land drop. Yep, good game. So it's possible there, if they didn't do their land drop, maybe they could have had a line where they could get like Dark Ritual if they had another land and Shouldered's Edict or something like that. Like they could have gotten the right combination of cards if sequenced correctly. Well, a 4-1, losing only to Oops All Spells. Here's the deck again. You saw how good Tamiyo was in the mirror, and Sneak and Show is pretty good right now too. So all of those things where we are really in a pickle about comboing off, Tamiyo is a really nice card to be able to drop. So especially in the meta right now, I like Tamiyo a lot. I could even see attempting it in the main deck. I could see maybe moving Veils to the side, Tamiyos to the main. Other than that, the only loss was to Oops All Spells. You can see I don't have the most in my deck for Oops. It's really pretty bare. 1 Fairy Macabre, 1 Cage, and then just cards that have text. So Oops has certainly been on the downswing recently, and I hope that stays the case. If it has an uptick that's significant, I might see bringing in more cards. I also think that, as you saw, like I never brought in like the 3rd Veil of Summer in certain matchups where it would have actually been good. So I do think that this sideboard is not perfectly mapped out, and maybe there are more cards I could have for Oops. So I think this deck remains a work in progress, but it's every day getting closer to what I think is going to be a top tier deck and really reliable. So it's definitely a deck I would consider playing. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of free wins. And yeah, it's just a blast. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.